My name's Brooke Fanti. I've never done a video before, so I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm going to do the best that I can. So when I was doing the reading, the one five of the 5 skills of Innovator's DNA that stood out to me was networking. And I had kind of a little bit of trouble picking which of the 5 I was going to choose, but I finally decided on networking because I wanted to pick a skill that I felt that I actually could use in my classroom, that actually would benefit my students in my specific population, and my population of students being students who have special needs. So when reading about networking, one of the quotes that really stood out to me was, "Rather than simply doing social networking or networking for resources, innovators actively search for new ideas by talking to people who may offer a radically different view of things." And this really stood out to me because immediately I thought of differentiated instruction. And I remembered back to a time when I was in class and I was teaching my students kind of in this last period. It's like a study period that we have where my kids can work on their homework. I kind of do some reteaching. And a student who I'll call Scott came up to me and he needed help with something that we were working on in math. And so I tried to explain it in a way that he would understand, but he still wasn't getting it. So then I explained it in a different way, and he still wasn't getting it. And I was kind of like, okay, like thinking in my head, all right, what do I do? I'm the teacher here. I'm the one who's supposed to know what to do here. So then one of our classmates, who I'll call Taylor, she came over and she was like, well, why don't you just, blah, blah, blah. And she showed him a different way of doing it. And in my head, I had to stop myself because I was thinking in my head, okay, no, that's not how you, I can explain it better. Like, you're kind of not explaining it how I thought was the right way to explain it. And what do you know, after Taylor explained it, Scott understood it completely. And it completely blew my mind because here I am as the teacher thinking I know the right way. I know the way to do things. When in reality, looking back to this quote, Taylor offered Scott a radically different view of things. She offered Scott a way for him to access that knowledge. But going back to the question, how can students practice this skill? They can practice the skill, which is something I need to do. I need to encourage the students to ask and seek out answers. So one of the reasons I picked networking was because, like I said, it relates specifically to my population of students. They have disabilities, which is something they are going to have their entire life. So whether Scott's trying to figure out that thing that we were doing in math, or whether we're in social studies, or next year when he takes math, things are always going to be hard for him. It's never going to be like, oh, I get things now, I don't need help anymore. Things are always going to be hard for him. So a way that he can deal with these things is by networking. Because if he comes to me for help, he has access to all of my knowledge. So by encouraging students to ask and seek out the answers, it's kind of almost a way of not dealing with their disability, but allowing them to access any knowledge, anything in this world. So one thing that I kind of like to think of is I give my students a lot of credit for effort. So let's say they tried really hard on a problem and they went to the math teacher to get help with math. I would give them a lot of credit for that, even if they got the answer wrong, because what they're doing is they're going out and they're networking and they're looking for help. So no matter, those are the skills of the innovator that I can say, okay, Scott, maybe you now know how to graph a function, but what's most important to me is that you know if you don't know how to graph a function, what do you do and where do you go? So kind of wrapping it up, disabilities, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And that's the main reason why I picked networking. I really just feel that it's one of those lifelong skills, kind of goes back to the discussion of what we've been talking about. It's something that we should be teaching in school. We should be explicitly teaching students, if you don't know math, where should you go? Well, you can come to me, you can go to your friends, you can go to the math teacher, you can go to a science teacher if that helps you, but looking for help networking no matter what the question is, because Scott might now know math, but what's most important to me is, does he know what to do when he has a question and he doesn't know the answer? So for me, that's why I picked networking for my innovative skill to focus on. Thank you.